Hello everyone, my name is Apana Tukunda. I happen to be the director of Cairo Solutions, and we are bringing to you a podcast for DXE. And DXE is Data, Extractives and Energy. It's a podcast where we talk about tech, what is happening in the energy space and the extractive space. DXE happens to be a podcast, a product of Cairo Solutions, and we are proudly sponsored by Short Boutique Hotel. When you have time, come pass by, have the lunch, have that meal, have that party held here so that you can have a one-on-one, a better experience. So today we are to talk about extractives. The first episode we are talking about oil and gas, and the second one I want to talk about extractives. And I'm honored to have one of the major in the industry when I talk about the extractive sector. Now, there are a lot of things which have been moving around in the extractives. That's the artisanal small-scale miners, the small-scale mining, and things about gold, things about 3Ts, for those who don't know, that's tin, tungsten, and tantalum. And yeah, I'm having the man who is the voice of the sector himself, Mr. Kenneth Asimwe. I'll invite Mr. Kenneth Asimwe to introduce himself and what is his position, his role, and why calling the voice of the sector. Thank you, Mr. Ken.
You're welcome. I'm called Kenneth Asimwe, and I work as the Chief Executive Officer of the Uganda Association of Artisanal and Small-Scale Miners.
So,
which is a very, very privilege and a big honor to serve our people so that we make and realize some money from our resources.
Okay. And if someone has never heard about Sugazim, or an association for artisanal small-scale miners, what is it all about? Where is it located? What is it empowering? If I came out and I'm point blank or I know nothing about the sector, what is Sugazim? What is its vision? What is its mission?
Sugazim is an acronym for the Uganda Association of Artisanals and Small-Scale Miners. It is not a very young association. It is an association, of course, that was born out of advocacy when indigenous people or Ugandans were being chased from mining sites and mining places, and there was no one to speak for them. They realized that they must do it for themselves. So they formed this association, and there's quite a number of associations, but of course born out of the freedom to associate. The Constitution guarantees it. You associate with who you like or with the fashion you feel, with a group of people that you feel you share like mind. And all of us as miners, we are under this association. It is very well represented in the regions that we have 5 mining regions. We have the northern, we have Karamoja, we have eastern, we have central, and we have western. We are very well represented. We have, of course, the richest amongst our miners being seen as the gold miners. They championed the formation of the association. And so for a long time, people thought it was a gold miners association, which is not true. We have sand miners, development minerals, we have people dealing in granite, we have people in bentonite, a whole range of minerals. We have people in marble doing marble, we have people in iron ore. So we represent interests of our miners. And most of the times when people say interests, it comes out as selfish. Of course it is selfish. But what are our interests? An artisanal miner, his interest is to make sure he gets some money to push them through that day. A small-scale miner is looking at a slightly bigger horizon than an artisanal miner. Will they all, would one want to become the other? It is open to discussion. I may want to be an artisanal miner for the rest of my life. I may want to become a small-scale miner for the rest of my life, so I should have we accommodate everyone in the association and encourage them to try and conform with how society wants to compel us to be. Of course, we pick and choose what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. We wait until we understand it. That's what the association stands for, to make sure that no minor is left behind. And we comply. At least we try. What we can manage, we do. What we can't manage, we keep shuffling as we advocate for better from both sides, the regulators and us who are into mining.
So before I go to the policy part, I have happened to read articles where you've been writing about the large-scale mining is phasing out or is dying out, and the African economy is being held and supported by the small-scale miners. I'd want to look at that narrative through your lens, and what guides your article in that line, or some of the articles I've read in that line. What is that picture you're trying to paint for the industry by large-scale miners and small-scale miners? Because I've seen some of the statistics. The African continent, let's say even Uganda, over 90% of maybe the gold we have or being exported is being supported by artisanal and small-scale miners. So what picture or what narrative you're clearly portraying out to the industry through that?
Why would I say that large-scale mining? If for the extremists, they would say it's dying. For the people who are very polite in language, you'll say that it is slowing down. But why do I say what I say? For example, when you have 5,000 licenses, exploration licenses, they will produce for you one mining project. A large-scale mining project. So, the mindset now, people are beginning to realize that mining is profitable at any level you do it. You can use a spade, you can use a grader, you can use a spoon. You'll still be profitable. So, and how large-scale mines raise money? It takes them almost 30 years to make a decision. People want minerals this morning. People want minerals today. Not 15 years later when you're still making up your mind how will the stocks per pound of the minerals are needed today. So it's much easier to raise money to start 100 small-scale mines than it is to raise money for one large-scale mine. So essentially now people are beginning to see and compare, and they prefer to do small scale than to do large scale. Land tenure systems are very hectic for large scale mining, to a point that when you're going to do large scale mining, you're going to come and remove people from their land. Then they'll tell you the law says reasonable compensation. I don't know who quantifies reasonable. It's a sliding line, like what's reasonable for someone is unreasonable for the other. So essentially you find governments begin to shoot down their own people to let some large scale mine. And because most large scale money is always foreign, you create an enmity between locals and your entity that you've brought. So as money begins to become sensitive to conflicts, where people say, people are murdering people in Congo, I will not buy that item because it made it. As people get sensitive to that kind of level, and scale mining is beginning to feel the temperature. That's why every morning they're coming up with a new standard, a new document. And to go through all of those documents to comply takes tons of money. And now, if you are thinking of investing and you have got to go through so many hurdles of trying to comply before you even put one product out, I'm sure common sense will tell you to go small scale.
Sure. So, from that perspective now, taking it back a little bit to the policy perspective, you are talking about, you've said we can comply to some, what we can, and to some, we might not. However, now with that kind of approach, a company or the artisanal miners to comply, I know there are very many costs which come in place to have maybe environmental impact assessments done, all that ground, all the paperwork which is done prior before you actually get the mineral out of the ground. From the artisanal sector or from the small scale mining sector, are those costs a reality to the production, or there are scam limiting small scale mining to blossom?
Compliance is a double-edged sword. You want to, but your budget is telling you, so the person they go slow, because when you visit mines, you see how they approach their mining. Everyone wants an ideal Bloomberg photo of a mine. You're entering a mine which is as wide as the whole stadium. You have no worry of debris falling on your head. Everyone wants that kind of. If you ask a miner what they would prefer, is it to crawl inside the shaft or to walk straight into the shaft? They, of course, prefer walking into the what?
The shaft.
Into the shaft. Walking into a shaft costs money. You've employed money you've borrowed at 2% a day. You don't borrow this money to comfort. You borrow it for production. So when a regulator comes, they come with a textbook. They have their Bloomberg textbook, whatever. They come. This is what they want to see on the ground. Your money is telling you something else, something different. So why do I say that we comply with some? Compliance is progressive.
I get you.
If, for example, I've got to pay a loan at 2%, I've borrowed 1 million. Out of this 1 million, I've made, for example, 300,000 extra. I must pay the 20,000 of the loan, pay the workers, the people that I worked with. And of the 300 extra, or the 208 I'm left with, I've paid off so many people. And I have 30,000 shillings left to take home. So if I have 30,000 shillings left to take home, between taking money home to feed children and to buy a helmet for my head, common sense. And think of it. The phone calls coming from home demand that you send money home before you buy what?
A helmet.
Now, people say, okay, now a rock is going to eat your head and you die, so you won't mine the next weekend. That one, people are like, yeah, I'll die when I do what? When I die, because the resources you have dictates
the compliance, whether you're to bend towards compliance.
When people are not the people claiming to come and educate you, teach you all these things, if they are not meeting you halfway, it becomes very difficult. If I've got to choose between my needs and the need that I perceive to just be compliance to please somebody, because at that point it's not really immediate. We all understand the risk, but at that point the risk is not as apparent as my immediate problem.
I get you.
This is where the problem is, that everyone wants to comply. We want to do environmental impact assessments. That's the idea. This the utopia everyone has. But here is now the catch. You're going to, for example, let's use an analogy of you have a person, the authority that's going to give you a license, and you have your activity. They are licensing you to go and slaughter rabbits. But they're telling you that for you to qualify to slaughter these rabbits here, you must present credentials and documents that prove that you can slaughter an elephant, or you are able to slaughter an elephant.
I get you.
What you're demanding is too big compared to what I'm going to do. If you tell an artisanal miner that you want them to do environmental impact assessment, and yet the law says that they can only dig a pit that is 10 meters deep. We have pit latrines scattered all over the terrain that are even deeper than 10 meters, but none has an environmental impact assessment. But you're telling this person to sit the whole sub-county of people to listen to what you do in the 10 meters deep pit, or what effect it is going to have. This is common sense. Everyone knows when you dig a pit, of course you're going to scour soil out. When you scour soil out, the standard procedures of processing and where you will keep it are known. Everyone knows them. So why must I now be paying money to consultants to produce a report of the obvious?
I get you.
Over a small thing. That's why we believe that the most important part of an environmental impact assessment report or study is the mitigation measures. And most of these are already known. Give people SOPs. The National Environmental Management Authority can come up with them and make sure people comply. We've given a litany of approaches to this kind of stalemate. Of course, you get yields here, you get obstructions here, but we keep on engaging. We don't give up.
So with that, what policy reforms do you think can be done to boost this the growth of the sector?
I, for one, am a pusher and believer in extension services. That our people need that kind of support. Everyone comes to close you down. Everyone comes to give orders, to close you down, to threaten you. But no one is giving you extension services, like counseling services, like coaching. People are doing what they know how to do, how they know how to do. Most of the mining we are doing is like coping, it's a coping strategy. So at that point, you need to give people a hand, give a soft system that coaches them to the level that you want them to get to for compliance. Threats don't work. They've tried them, shootings, evictions, all these things. You evict them up to it. Eventually, the system collapses from within. So I believe that we should have a policy on extension services for mining like it is in agriculture. And I believe we should adopt an environmental management plan, at least for the first 2 years or 3 years of a small scale license. License them on an environmental management plan and have a midterm review where you know that these people have sufficiently made money to invest in an expensive environmental, social impact assessment study. We have mineral markets, which the government is coming up with. A good idea, but it's racing against online platforms. It's going to be chasing a market that has already multi-enabled. It's still a welcome idea, but it needs a lot of modification. It should also be added in the policy and adopted. We have everyone saying they are decarbonizing mining. We all know that the easiest way to decarbonize is to plant trees. Yeah, but someone is coming and telling you that they want to capture your carbon and go and store it in some sea somewhere abroad. Very unrealistic things. So we're saying, what can we do within our
ecosystem,
within our means? If we are mining here and you've calculated and tabulated our carbon footprint is going to be this much for 5 years, ask us to plant that amount of trees to balance up the carbon. Yeah, because this is the most realistic.
So there is a narrative I found a lot in the corporate space where they talk about criminal illegal mining. And in this case, I think you'll allow me to use the word survival artisanal mining. And these two words, or these two categories of people, there is a thin line in between, differentiating between who both of them are. So, as a CEO seated in a position where you can guide the government in that space, what would the government base on to better differentiate these two things? Illegal mining and the survival artisanal mining.
I think there is, by nature, because you see, the narrative of mining has been that locals don't know how to mine. Or mining is a new thing to them, which is not true. The oldest mine known on earth is in Africa, in Uwenya, in Swaziland. So mining is not anything in what?
In Africa.
In Africa. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Abahes.
Sure.
Abahes is not a clan that came last week or last year after legislation. No. They have been known as Abahesi, which translates to blacksmiths. That has been their trade and their tribe. In the tribe, the clan of the Abachiga called Abahesi. They didn't become Abahesi last week. They were mining even before. So when you come with a new document that you've made because you want control and you illegalize them or criminalize them because you are looking for a way of control, it is just a matter of language. And people seeking to control what has already moved. I get that was there. So they come, documents, and distort these things. To be legal, we will assume, okay, let's take it from how it is that we now live in laws. Even then, even before there were laws that govern Sakawa, not Zoli. Everyone has. They were living together. People weren't savages as they present them. No, people had a way of living. Otherwise, it would have been chaos. We wouldn't even be here today. We would all have died in that chaos. Our ancestors. There was a form and format of how communities existed. So how does criminalizing mining and illegalizing locals come about? Someone came and said all minerals will belong to a government. The government is a government because it has guns, and if you don't listen to them, they'll either kill you or jail you.
That's it.
So what is the government? Then the government comes and say it is by the people, for the people, all that language. So let's agree we are now moving in one direction because we are under a certain system of governments which has jails. It must set the law. You must agree whether you want or not. If you don't, they will jail you or they will kill you. So we came from that kind of thing where colonialists said that if you find an indigenous person with a mineral, you cut off their arm, amputate them. Why? Because they wanted all the minerals for themselves. Now, the new governments that we have, which have people of our color, when they came, they were just a replacement of the other guy. They are running on the same
system.
They are holding minerals in trust. They can give them to you or they can.
The lands.
No. Who are they holding them for? The other fella of foreign direct investment, if they do, it makes everyone in the country become a broker.
I get you.
Everyone makes you put money illegal by making sure that the licenses they ask for, you will never
Have them.
you will never have it, or you'll find difficulty in getting there.
Little one.
But this fellow who is bringing money from abroad,
Because has the money and the investment.
so you are now excluded, and the law calls you
I get you.
illegal. So we are saying, okay, let's try not to be illegal. Let's get the license. Where you can get the license, then they put a lot of things in the license, on the way for you to get the license. They put a lot of hurdles. That midway you are like, no, let me mind, come what may, we will sort ourselves out. You understand that?
I get you.
Because I always give people this example. Why should getting a permit to ride a border be very easy? You walk in, you walk out. Very rarely will they even test to see if you can ride that border. But for you to mine a rock that is in your father's land, to sell at least 20 karais to raise school fees, you need a letter from the LC1, then you bring that letter to the LC3, then LC5, then another DC, then from the other DC, the cow. You have to meet like everyone and their clanmates for you to mine something very small. So all those complications are the ones that bring about the issue of they are illegal, they are informal. Those things don't exist in trade because you are taxable, you are no. You have an ID, you are no. The Ugandan law presents all sorts of forms of how you can engage in business. You cannot straight-jacket everybody into a cooperative because you pay the cooperative is a fancy word for that time. So everyone says we are formalizing artisanal miners, we are making them make cooperatives, make associations. Where do you put those ones who want to make small companies? Where do you put the ones who want to make partnerships? Because you have a cooperative of 100 people who can't raise 4 million. You have a partnership of 2 people who can raise 100 million. So illegal is there because it serves the purpose of creating us and them on the other side.
Are artisanal miners poor? There's a very narrative that's throwing around. I've seen pictures around miners in Africa, in Congo, in Uganda here, and the Africa at large. Are artisanal miners poor?
I think, you see, poverty is something that has failed so many people to define. Others will say if you live below $1, if you can't spend $1 a day. But some people don't need that dollar because they eat food from next to their house. They drink milk from next to their house. The only time they need money is probably when they are going to see a doctor. You can't say that that person is what?
It's poor.
Is poor because you are coffining them into your understanding of the economy, that everyone must have a bank account, everyone must be seen in the money economy, that if you're not in the money economy, then you're what?
You're poor, man.
Then you're poor. Artisanal miners are okay. They are fine. Do they want more money? Do they want a much better life than they have right now? Of course, everyone that has ambition wants better than what they have today. So I can see that artisanal miners are people who are striving from where they are to a better place.
Sure.
Do they want what is ideal? They do. They do.
So that takes me to a discussion. There is our news which is moving around town that the Bank of Uganda is now targeting to get into local trade, that's buying of gold. And that takes us to a point. I would request that you try to explain why gold? To a person who might not understand, why should the Bank of Uganda get into the business on the trade of buying gold? Why gold? And in that, should there, because I've seen it around the petroleum ecosystem, they have the Petroleum Authority of Uganda. Should we have as a country an authority in charge of the minerals or the gold or whatever we have in the country? Because if you look at the statistics, last year's exports in gold were just amazing. It surpassed every other commodity we have in the country. So kindly, a breakdown of why gold, and also should we have an authority, a minerals authority in Uganda?
That's very interesting. The Bank of Uganda is trying to buy gold for purposes of making sure that our reserves are in gold and not in the US dollar. Why? Everyone is trying to step away from the dollar. The world order is changing very fast. Everyone is panicking. Everyone says, okay, where is the assurance? The assurance is in the what?
It's the gold.
In the gold. Gold, first of all, stabilizes currencies. If your currency is backed by gold, you have a stable currency. You'll have to resist the temptation of just going and printing money off the mill, bringing it into your
country.
Yeah, but now that's your whole now different subject that we may not have time to cover in our interview. But for a person out there that is watching, gold stabilizes currencies. The world has been relying on a dollar for trade, but because now everyone is trying to break away from the US dollar, they want their currencies to also mean something. So if you have enough dollars to back your currency, you'll find that you can take a Uganda shilling to Dubai and use it there. You won't have to be tied to
the dollar.
Get your shilling, buy a dollar, then reach Dubai,
and then get it to the
exchange it to some other currency. You'll find that your currency can go and trade anyway because it is solid money now. Now, do we need an authority for gold? Personally, I'm of the view that instead of DGSM being a small department, they should elevate it to an authority. The way we have the Petroleum Authority of Uganda. You cannot have an authority of two products and fail to have an authority of a whole periodic table of products. You understand that? That a person with a lot of work that is obvious, as you can see, is not an authority. From a directorate, they are now even sunk further to a department. To me, my belief is that we should elevate the directorate of geosurvey. Sometimes I'm even confused between the directorate department, which it is now. Now, I think they even call it the Mineral Development Program. That can't be an authority. You need an authority that can effectively grow this sector, where the CEO, where the Chief Executive Director directs things, that this should be done like this should be like this, not where everyone has no... Basically, you are in a circle, you have no idea which is which.
I get you.
So that's why we need an authority. Minerals are very funny that everyone wants to control them, and the more you control them, the smarter the ones who have
them
become. Switzerland used to be the destination of almost every gold. Somehow they are morals, which is good to have morals. They moralized themselves out of the gold trade. It found another city, of course, which was in Dubai. Now, when Dubai follows suit, I would pray that Kampala is ready to do it.
Do that.
To take over, like we've already taken over in the Great Lakes region.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, serious habit. So I would pray that the more they moralize themselves, instead of trade and regulate themselves properly, gold will always move. I don't care who has the guns, who has whatever you do. Minerals will do it.
There is more.
Will always move. So me, I would prefer that you have people that are talking to each other with respect and trading with each other in respect, not coming with condescending documents that you think because you produced a document so everyone must lie down. No. People will always find a what?
Way out.
A way around these things. So instead of barring people under eternal documents, make trade simpler, make trade transparent, because the more the documents you bring,
The more you
the more you push people into non-compliance.
I get you.
Yeah.
So, with that Bank of Uganda is getting into play, what do you think should be the role of all other commercial banks? And for the time, we've been noticing they've been kind of reluctant. Is it the right space to be in? Is it the right way to fall into reluctancy, or is the ignorance about the sector? Should these commercial banks enter the space, or is it highly advisable for them to keep out as they are doing it?
No, you can't. You see, business is an opportunity. Businesses come up as opportunities. You cannot force an opportunity on what? On somebody. Before you invest, you study, you assess, you analyze, and choose that now I'm ready. Let me do what? Let me get into this market. You cannot flog a bank into what? Into the market. They must see that it makes commercial sense. To open a bank account when you're going to do a mining business in Uganda is treated almost like you're going to open a nuclear facility illegal. Banks will take you through circles. As soon as you say, I want to open an account, your resolution, it is here, you are into mining. They now need to contact their boards abroad to approve a small account. Just one account. Because you're going into the mining sector. So what do people do? They resort to loan sharks. Other smarter people go for these facilities that are soft agricultural loans. They bring them into the mining sector. And then you have money running around in the economy and you can't even explain it. You can't even explain it. People say corruption. Corruption can't bring a KG and you don't trace that money for corruption.
I get you.
Yeah. Most of this money comes from a lot of business that people have chosen not to understand. The moment you tell someone that you are a gold dealer in Uganda, or you are a miner, you deal in minerals, they see you as a scammer. That's the first thing. That guy became a Mufedi. Why? They do not want to get into the trade and what? And understand. And it works for the miners because the more that stay on the other side, the less the pressure you have in the sector. So miners, in a way, use that stigma to benefit.
I get you.
But the good thing is that now, with the work that you guys have done, we've simplified the understanding of mining. People always laugh when I tell them that as soon as you are done with primary 3, you can become a miner. You don't need anybody to tell you that you don't understand. The states of matter are taught in P3.
Solids, liquids,
Solids, liquids, and gases, and how to convert each to
the other.
Yeah, then when you progress, they teach you labors. The pivot, the load,
And the use
and the effort. So you know how to get your minerals out
of the ground.
So by P7, you are a thorough miner. You don't need a PhD. But now you're going to submit your paper and they'll tell you your technical expertise. We don't see it. I finished P7. I studied levers, I studied states of matter. But someone's telling you, for you to mine, we need to see someone, an engineer who has been to Australia, who has been where. That's when you'll be compliant. So those are some of the things that we want to demystify for our people. The way they have demystified the border, that you can just get out of home and there's a border there, a cheap loan border, 1.5 million shillings, you get a border and you go there at the Mulako roundabout. So we want to simplify it and say that even mining, give people a permit for 6 months, give them a zone, let them go and mine. That zone be controlled by the government. Artisanal miners, that government to do the EIA, gazette off a zone and say this is an artisanal miner zone. We are issuing you a permit, it is for 6 months. Let a person get as many permits as he wants. That if things are not working in the bush here, he will go and mine in the zone in Mubende because he has a permit for it, or for Mubende. If things don't work, let them get the one for Buweji and they go to Buweji.
So
make it very easy for people to mine.
With that instance, like if we're to talk about areas like Mubende, Buweju, Kasanda, some areas in Kabale where some of this mining is done in Karamoja, what percentage of the returns, maybe let's say in gold or whatever mineral they are dealing in, stays in the community?
That's very hard for me to clarify because I've seen Bukuya come out of the soil. It was never there.
I get you.
It's when you go to Bukuya town. There used to be a town called Mungubo in Mubende before they closed off Sita. All these were very serious economic hubs. You go to Tira in Kusia. You go to Moyo. Everywhere mining happens, there is a lot of multiplied money in that area. I always tell people that the only person that understands mining in our country is the CEO of the CEOs of the breweries. I understand mining because if you are, for example, to close off Buweju, close off Tira, and close off Kasanda, the tax money remitted by Uganda breweries or Nile breweries will reduce drastically. They will feed it at finance. That these people are not working.
There's no money
We can't pay you that as you are expecting. Why? Because they know how much is happening in those
areas.
In those areas. Mining builds communities. Of course, because you find weak physical planning, buildings are built haphazardly. Now, that's not the problem of a miner. I'm not going to come to mine and then become the physical planner of the what?
Of the place of the area.
Of the town. I'm not going to come and mine and then, of course, you make me the district medical officer. My job is to do what?
To mine.
To mine and pay the miners. If the miner is sick and there is no help, a hospital to help close by, you can't now put that burden on a small-scale miner that you mine and the hospital has no what?
Has no medicine or has no facilities.
I'm not the one who appropriates government budget. We should leave these duties to these people. Of course, we are for supporting each other. Local service taxes are paid. Income taxes are paid. There is always a complaint that miners don't want to be taxed. No, miners don't want to go through too many documents. We've before suggested that for every license, put a POS, which is almost like the IFRS of these days.
Yeah.
Put it there. If a gram of gold is $140 today, that's about 500.
Yeah.
Take your 10%. So, give me my like, let it be a clean, clear cut that I came to sell. Your fella who is a mineral dealer, I've sold to him, he has a POS, he has deducted your money, remitted it to you. What I've stayed with belongs to me now. I don't want to be hustled now that you're earning too much, you're earning this. No, make it a clear cut that I submitted gold, it was bought.
Yeah.
The person will inherit this amount of money and they say thanks to government. Make taxation very simple. Taxation should not be like I'm sitting for your neighbor. Like you're sitting for neighbor. Make things very simple.
I understand you care.
Very simple.
That said, you cannot talk about mining in Uganda and you don't talk about Makile. Makile has to come somewhere in the jazz, and I've seen very many campaigns around the country, Makile-free mining. The question is, how feasible and realistic is the Makile-free technologies? Yes, I've seen the benefits. We are fighting a lot of pollution around the environment. What is its relevancy to the mining community? I've talked with some of the miners, and some of their point is, you've told us to get off Makile, but what is the option besides Makile? So as UGAZIM, is this feasible and is it affordable to the Ugandans?
You see, in life, once a person gives you a solution you cannot afford, it becomes another problem. Someone should give you, I always use an example of a dentist. If I go to a dentist today and he gives me, I tell him I have a cavity, I can't eat, I didn't sleep last night, and he tells me, you see, I have 3 solutions for you. Extraction is 70,000 shillings. But me as a dentist, I would recommend that you do a root canal for 500,000 shillings. Then we have another fancy one for 1 million shillings. Now in my pocket I have 40,000 shillings. Which is the solution closest to my problem?
Getting up for 70,000.
One for 70,000. Where this guy is also banking on that if I solve your problem, you will not run away with my 30, you will pay it. So you easily converge on 70,000 to extract it. So you're going to come and tell the person that Makile will kill you. It will kill so many other people now. Dates are killing me today. Makile will kill me in 10 years. Okay, even in 5, it's okay. Do you really think I'll listen to that, to your solution? You're giving me a solution I can't afford for you to get rid of something that you're saying will kill me in 5 years. Yet the problems I have are killing me in the evening. And I must solve them using Makile that I know. So for us as the association, we started advocating for common user facilities. There is many ways of processing gold that are very clean, but they are a little bit out of the reach of a lot of miners.
Yeah.
So we are saying, okay, now let us invest. As government, as people who love us not to die from Makile or kill other people with Makile, can we all now
Come together.
and put CIP plants? Carbon in leach, carbon in pulp plants. We use cyanide, forget that cyanide is instant brick.
I get you.
Can we converge and say, I don't know how old you are, but if you know a maize mill, if you've ever encountered one, long time there would be only one maize mill in the whole sub-county, and it used to belong to government. Why? It used to help people add value to their maize or to their sorghum. So after this maize mill became overwhelmed by production, very brilliant guys who are very enterprising, they decided to come to Katwe and make more maize mills and more sorghum mills and take them to their villages. But the technology was first brought by governments to process the maize. So we are saying, okay, can you bring this technology and show people how it works, rather than coming and gathering all of us in a hall and showing us a CIP plant on a PowerPoint, and then you get and you leave And we now imagine, okay, the size of that thing, the way it looked so huge on the screen, it must cost $1 million. So let's put things so that people easily start copying and reproducing the technology
Get you.
out there.
So that takes me to mechanization, and I think that will take me again to mining equipment. There is a policy in agriculture which I have seen being talked about a lot on districts, where they bring equipment and they put it on the districts, and then any person or any farmer is free to go to the district, maybe a little money, maybe for the fuel or whatever, and gets a tractor off. Do you think that same mechanism can be adopted for mining? And if it's adopted for mining, what is the likelihood that it will displace maybe a few people, or it will cause job reduction in the entire sector, something like that? What is the possibility? Is it something which is viable to be adapted? And what are the effects? And how can we mitigate those effects in case they happen?
Mechanizing is good. It improves efficiency. What you are supposed to do for 2 days, you do it in 2 hours. Everyone loves those things. But now, you see, why do Western and the people, they say we are in the Southern Hemisphere, there are people in okay, those who are that side, they, why do they mechanize? They pay by the hour. And labor is too expensive. Now, I'll give you an example from construction, from the perspective of construction. A bag of cement is cheaper in Uganda, is cheaper abroad than it is in Uganda. Now, the labor to mix that bag of cement is about 10 times the cost of the what? Of the bag of cement for you to use it on your construction. In Uganda, it's the river.
I get you.
That the person who mixes this cement for you in the sun, you can pay them 3,000 for a whole day. And they will gladly do it.
They will gladly work.
Gladly work. No one has cheated there. You will not have any labor in you at your
At your home or at your site.
Your home or at your day. Now, what we have is youthful labor. So you cannot legislate. If you put them there and legislate them means I put a policy that I must mechanize, that should be a business decision. It should not be a policy decision. Because you cannot come and tell me that I must use a grade. If a grader is going to cost me 500 million, and I'm going to employ people who will willingly work and earn money to go improve their lives at an agreed fee. For example, I have 1,000 boys on the mine, and you want me to replace all these 1,000 boys because you are forcing me to get a grader at 500 million. It would cost me less to work with them, skill them, and they go and they mine somewhere else. Let people make those decisions basing on their circumstances. You cannot legislate growth that you come and tell me that you have over been in this small shop. We want you to go to a supermarket.
I get you.
Those should be personal business decision. You cannot say, I've heard people saying, no, someone cannot stay an artisan forever. Let that be their decision. Their decision. Not everyone, for example, when you go to get a driving permit, not everyone wants to drive a bus. That I should go to get a driver class D, H, and all those things. No, I want to stick to B. If the necessity comes that I want to go to the other, then it be my
decision.
You cannot say that you're going to forcefully
upgrade me.
It cannot work like that. Okay, let's assume that you forcefully upgraded us. Then you cannot assume that now artisanal mining will end because there are new people being born this week, people being born next year, who will want to come and enter into mining at an artisanal level. So let people grow. Mechanization should happen as a business decision,
Get you.
not as because you put graders at
At the district level.
the district level.
I get you.
Yeah, let people decide what they want to do depending on the resources. So do you know that there are so many districts where they have put those circle things that no one has
Even no one has ever talked. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because that's not how things work. I can't, you've not participated in this idea, and you come and sit here and say, no, I think those people need tractors. Did you do a clear needs assessment?
No.
Was it participatory in
With the society.
with us as you planned for us? Miners have I would say, a quote that guides them: nothing for us without us. Don't sit somewhere and then assume that you now understand us very, very much, that you must drive us into a certain direction because from the boardroom it is what you feed that we.
It's the right thing.
It's the right thing. You've not spent a single coin
I get you.
in a mine and see it just disappear in a margin. But then you come and want to direct me on how these things must be done.
I get you, Ken.
As we are finalizing this,
I want to ask something, I think. If at all, Mr. Kenneth, you approached the president and given maybe a conversation, maybe let's say for 10 minutes, what policy changes would you request to the president which you think need immediate effect? And what is the biggest misconception policymakers have on this industry which you think will need to be buffered there and then? I think let's first attempt those two, and then should maybe the last 2-3 things I
If I met the president of Uganda, you see, the president of Uganda is the biggest consumer of information in this country. Lies, truths, half-truths, everything arrives at
at his table.
table. But I would encourage him, number one, to elevate DGSM to an authority, not the way it is right now. There should be more vigor, more verve, more bullet at DGSM as an authority than just a department, directorate. They need more than what they have right now, what they are working with. Their budget is very, very laughable. Painfully, really, for a sector that has the potential to pay off our debt in no time, that they receive small money.
Peanuts.
Change. They are receiving a small scale exploration license budget to run through the year. It's not fair for them. Then you are expecting them to participate in the tenfold growth of the economy. They need more than that. We have the potential to produce these things. What else should I tell the president? As an association, we've worked tirelessly to get mining to where it is. And we are working very hard to introduce insurance, to introduce so many new things in mining, to introduce saving. Miners have money, but their confidence in the banking system is very
low.
It's very low. The way banks look at them as risky is the way miners look at banks as
Also risky. I get you.
so. We want to change that conversation. So I would ask the president We don't believe in yoga. We don't believe in donations. That money should just come like parish development money and disappear. No. As miners, we can multiply money. But before we multiply that money, we need to build the software that manages this money. That's why we've endlessly approached so many partners to help us finance the extension program. To solve our problems, not to come and be lectured about our
problems.
Everyone comes as a lecturer. Everyone is coming to teach us financing. Everyone is coming to teach you how to put on a helmet, how to put on a protective shoe. We know all these things. But we now want to do business. But we need a structure that supports business. And as UGASM, we are set to roll out an extension program. Of course, we would be happy if we work on that extension program with government. So I will take my 10 minutes telling the president that please finance this and we will do the rest.
I get you.
Yeah.
Do you think Uganda is leaving money on the table by how they're managing SCM?
Is Uganda leaving money on the table? If you are paying me what I've asked for, what I know I deserve. You've taken yours, I've done what?
I've taken mine.
I've taken mine. The only circumstances that we are in is that artisanal miners are squeezed between a rock and a hard place. To get a license is a Herculean task. To get financing, because you don't even have a license now, is also a Herculean task. You go to the bank to open an account, they ask you for a license. You go to get a license, they ask you for a bank account. So you're just spinning in the middle there. So once we iron out these small things, no one will leave money anywhere.
Yep.
The issue of gold is multiplying, gold is going anywhere. It is just the value of gold that has grown. That gold was $40,000, now it is now 170, 160. So mathematics of where they would ask us in the kilo of feathers and the kilo of nails, which one is heavier? Most of us who are not thinking very deeply, we used to say it is nails. But it is just that gold has grown in value.
I get you.
But I don't think people are producing more gold than
the other time.
The other time. No, you look at the quantity of gold that is moving out.
It's the same.
It's almost the same. So we're saying, can we increase the production capacity of our miners such that we cash in when the dollar is still, when the value
is still high.
Is still very high. You cannot know. The advantage of gold is that it is a concrete mineral. When people point guns at each other,
it spikes up.
It spikes up.
Get you.
Now, would we want people conflicting? We all would wish that gold rises because of different circumstances. But the reality is that when people are shooting each other, gold is rising in price. We don't want people shooting each other. We would want gold to just get value for being gold.
I get you.
We have other minerals we don't pay attention to because people kind of tie this gold around your neck and make it look like it's the real thing. No, people are making a lot of money. Did you know that a square meter of marble is 300,000?
Not to make that math.
Chogo Mazinga, to just decorate your wall with the very nice black granite from Karamoja. They'll ask you for handsome money. You can visit their workshop and see the kind of artwork they have, the polishing of stones they do. Ugandans have now gone into gemstones. Asili, Dr. Apollo. Yeah, we started talking about lapidary and we said, no, let's stop theorizing. Like, he went ahead and did the work. There is work that is being seen. That you can now get 200 girls who have lost hope in Karamoja and train them to carve these stones and give them a story and fetch money from there. Sand. Who doesn't have sand on their house? Sand is a mineral. Tin. Iron ore. I would encourage our president to let iron ore have value added from Kigezi where it is being made.
Fine, I get you.
The same principle that we cannot export minerals. Minerals should not leave Kigezi without value being added, because that is exporting minerals to other districts. So let value be added from where? From close. We don't have to have $500 million establishments. We can have $10 million and have 10 of them spread where?
Around the corner.
Around Kigezi. You have another 10 around Mbale where there is more iron ore. Another 3 in Karamoja, or even 10, the same there. But of different sizes and different entities. That is the beauty of small-scale production. Then you bring to large-scale refiners, the Tembos, the roofings. You feed them with raw material. But getting raw material should not really be that astronomical. It's just basic.
Rocket science.
You are breaking a raw, turning it into small particles, grinding it and supplying it. There is nothing so spectacular about it that you should be there. Someone is carrying you with these huge budgets, huge feasibility study. It is there in your grandfather's compound. Crash it. If you don't have a pickup truck, put it on a wheelbarrow, by the way. When you go to Kigezi, I'll owe it by the road. So I don't see why we should make life so extremely difficult that you're waiting for some savior with $1 billion to come and save Uganda from this paralysis that we can't get iron ore from what?
From the ground.
For Christ's sake, it's just using a rock out of it and crashing it to whatever size they have asked for, 1 millimeter, whatever.
Do you think regional integration would help the sector grow?
Yes, of course, because now you have Wood Cross struggling to get stock fee of tin. We have tin across 50 kilometers, 40 in Tanzania. So I would rather we share that facility and utilize it fully, and everyone can carry their ingots. That's the beauty about minerals, that we can all decide to share minerals and not share money. We can decide to share money and sell the oil.
And sell the minerals.
And sell the minerals. Instead of now, Tanzania now struggling to put behind Kagera another Wood Cross, the wood suppliers, and say, okay, now that you've refined it for us, remove your costs and we split in the middle. You take 20, we take 50 of what has been produced. This is the beauty of minerals, that you don't actually have to share money. You can share your minerals, load them, and take them on the other side. Instead of us, all of us being big men in small places, you can become one big man in a big places and start producing it. Instead of now, for example, if we go to extract it, Congo says they're going to go on the other side of Lake Albert and put another refinery.
I get you.
Yet you have a refinery that you're planning to put here. So we have, of course, it was set and designed in the systems of drawing borders. But brains think broadly more than
Borders.
It is when two bald-headed guys are fighting over a comb. It's a pathetic sight. Can all come together and give the comb to the guy who was there. So they let's come together, and that's what I would encourage. We already have the East African community. It should push that agenda. We have everyone will tell you the prices of power are so astronomical. Liberalize the power. If UEDCL cannot supply people power, let people come and put up their solar stations, solar farms. I've seen solar farms that produce 20 megawatts. So if it can do 20 megawatts for an iron ore industry in Kabale that needs 5 megawatts,
I get you.
why should you let people wait for their greed until Jesus comes back? When they can establish their own what? Their own solar farm.
I get
Liberalize the power sector if these guys are not up to.
up to standard of providing what is needed. You know?
So that we don't fail, we don't, stagnate in the middle.
So my last question, Mr. CEO, is what keeps you awake in the night about this sector?
What keeps me awake is if I could push as many people out of writing border borders and I send them to the periodic table and then send them to the mine. If I figure out that formula, that I can tell every Ugandan that minus these people throwing every document they come across, every fella they have a meeting with and create a new document, they bring it to you. If I can convince as many Ugandans that you can mine sand and not die on a border, that you can go and study ceramics and come and do them. Everyone has porcelain. We were China, we are using it here. This is simple clay heated at super temperature. So why do we have to be getting that stuff from there? Yet we can produce it from where? From here. Before Apollo did cutting of gemstones, we all thought they must be cut from Dubai, from Los Angeles, from France. The angles, all these things that people talk in fancy language. There is nothing spectacular about these things. They use handkerchiefs, they use sandpaper, and no more water that you can fetch even from a pothole close to your home. And you carve a gemstone. So I want as many Ugandans as possible to understand the periodic table. After understanding the periodic table, whatever you find, go to the London Metal Exchange, Shanghai Metal Exchange, Kitco, and see the price of what you discovered. People will tell you gold is very costly. They will not tell you about rhodium, yttrium, polonium, whatever, which is, you have all of the uranium. They're all over the place. But it is up to you to educate yourself. Have a gentleman who is doing bentonite. Bentonite is a very good lightning conductor element, better than charcoal. Charcoal loses conductivity over a period of time. Bentonite does not. Some of you people have lightning conductors that no longer work, but you're actually sleeping in those houses. But bentonite is all over where you stay. But poorly packaged, no one is researching. No one wants you to know that it does work better than charcoal to arrest lightning. You have buildings which have lightning arresters, but where lightning has it. Bentonite can solve that problem. So the thing that keeps me awake is that I want as many of our children, as many of our brothers to understand that you can enter mining at any level and make money out of it. The risks are much less. Today, I can tell you that there is no one who has died in a mine because I have contacts in every mine. But I can tell you that today someone has died on a border. If they have not died, they have been amputated.
I get you.
As we speak, there is a man going to be knocked by a border, but there is no one whose mine is going to collapse on their head today. So I would rather get all our youthful guys, put them in mines, and we bring these minerals out. So if you see a whole nation taking its guns to go and rob another nation's minerals, what does that communicate to you?
What's it?
That minerals are the business. There is no country that is going to invade you to steal your borders. None. but they'll invade you to steal your copper. They'll even invade you to take your water. But no one is going to invade you here to take your tukutukus. Because there is no value, what?
Tukutukus.
Yeah, so my sleeplessness is in making every Ugandan appreciate mining and know that artisanal and small-scale mining is the way to go. If you've had an experience, when we have holidays, you have nowhere to step in the mines. Students are there looking for school fee. And I guarantee you there is no boy or girl who leaves the mine and does not pay their school fees fully. That is the kind of, I want those people empowered. I want services of licensing to be close to them. There is no reason someone should be coming to Kampala to follow up a license. Let them work from the mine. From the mining, let the services being increased. And that will come about when the president and the people who plan will help him, assist him in the governance of this country, elevate DGSM to an authority. That's also one thing that contributes to my sleeplessness. It should be made an authority so that work becomes easier and more effective. I guarantee you there is less stagnation at PAF. What? Because they have more leeway in their daily processes than our colleagues
In the DGSM.
at DGSM are being given. They are very dedicated people. They understand what they are doing, but they need more support on the budget and on the mandate.
I get you. Thank you, Mr. Simwe Kenneth, for the time you've granted us on this podcast. And again, this podcast is proudly sponsored by Chot Boutique Hotel and Restaurant. You can pass by for your meals, for your drinks. It's in Nakasero, in the central business area of Kampala. Thank you. Catch up in the next podcast. Catch up. I'm out. Bye-bye.